Hello, everyone. Welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at KuCoin. Before we do, we usually look at Bitcoin, but I can summarize it quickly. We're at about 51,500. It's made higher highs and higher lows pretty consistently. And obviously, we had a decent day yesterday for Bitcoin. Just a nice, steady, slow incline. So all good stuff there. In fact, we took some profits with our signal group as well. So all good things here. And with KuCoin, we want to understand, well, some obvious indicators here, and we're going to look at that in just a moment. I want you to know too, though, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining me here. I love teaching people how to trade. This is the reason for this channel, of course, and hopefully you can learn a thing or two here today. And I also have a trading community as well, in case you're interested in more of an in-depth, hands-on, I guess you could say, dive or interaction with myself. And just becoming a better trader, right? I have a trading academy that I'm rolling out with next month, as well as the fact that new slots will be available January 1st for my my current signal group / trading community. So really good stuff there. Just be mindful. First of the month is the next available start date for that. So looking here at KuCoin, first of all, something to note is just simply put, we're at right around 64 cents. But the price recovered well yesterday as anticipated. So we'll take a look at that here. Let's go ahead and look at the obvious though. I think I mentioned this previously, of course, but the 50-day set moving average working its way up, potential support level, reaffirming the fact that 58 cents should be the lowest point in which CRO will go. In fact, why don't we take a quick look at the recent volume and kind of see where we have the most amount of accumulation. Yep, right there, right around 52 cents. So all in all, really good stuff here in that sense. We have a strong foundation of volume, which is really good. Just note that there is a resistance channel between 68 and 73 cents. A lot of volume accumulation from previous timeframes before the price dropped. And that was just obviously before Bitcoin took a dump on the 4th, right? So December 4th was a tough day for a lot of folks. Bitcoin dropped 27% in 16 hours, and that really changed things a lot. But we have a lot of volume accumulation just below and just above the price action right now. So that creates a support level, but also a resistance channel above where the price is at presently. We'll bridge that gap when we get there. We still got a few cents to go, but just note that that could work as a resistance in the upcoming couple of days and or weeks. Now look at RSI. RSI is up over 50, below 70. That's a perfect place to be. That is more so bullish sentiment and no longer bearish. And that's really a good, in my opinion, just one of the better places you could be regarding RSI on the one-day chart. Okay, we got room for growth, so to speak, but it's not considered bearish, right? So that's a good sign. It means we have good perpetual motion here. Speaking of motion, we could see a nice solid step up, so to speak, over the last 24, 48 hours. In fact, let's take a look at that. We're at a 7 right now, so we could potentially see a slight retracement / consolidation. It's not a 100% guarantee that you're going to see that when you see a 7 on TD sequential, but it's just something to be mindful of, where we could actually see a couple, within about 8 hours, you could say, we could see that hit a 9, and it could reach that exhaustive state. Now, is it exhausted right now? Probably not. CRO has a big tendency of doing very well contrary to that, but it also follows 9 very well. In other words, we see 9 previously, it consolidated afterwards, right? Price comes down, right back up to a 7. We could see a consolidation phase here in about, again, 2 more 4-hour candlesticks or 8 hours. Is that going to happen? Hard to say specifically, but the key level here that I like to see is that we're above a support level. Okay, we're testing basically 64 cents even, and that's a really strong support as it appears, because you can see previously it shot above, tested it as a support, kind of lost support, but continued to test it as a support, then drop down below, right? So it's kind of an area of contention here, you could say. In fact, let's see how much volume we have in this area ever since the price has hit its bottom and come up, right? So from crypto.com's lowest point, we've seen the most amount of volume accumulation right above the price action right now. And that's not a problem, because you see the most amount of volume accumulation between 61 and 65 cents anyways, and that amount of volume is good, that's healthy, that's building a strong foundation for an increase. Okay, so even though there's just a slight amount of volume higher than the price action right now, we don't need to worry about that as a specific resistance, because of the fact that there's a lot of volume below that too, if that makes any sense, right? So I see that as a positive. That's basically just building a strong base, strong foundation, so to speak, between 61 and 66 cents. Okay. But just note that there is a potential resistance here at 66. I'm just going to go ahead and mark that for later, because you can see that the price keeps kind of getting stopped out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times now. Okay, so the price has gotten rejected 6 times at that location. So just something to be mindful of. Once we break through 66 cents, that should essentially create that as a support level and push the price action up higher. But also note too, we do have a strong amount of volume accumulation, once again, between 68 and 73 cents. So we will have a little bit of turbulence over the next, week or two, so to speak, in that zone. Okay. So just something to be mindful of. It's not like it's going to just go up there and just get rejected immediately. Oftentimes it will initially, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like a, throw the price down to 50 cents, right? It'll probably reject and bounce off the next closest support, which at this point is again 64 or possibly 66 cents once we break that as a resistance. So let's look at the 1 hour chart and see what's going on here. Ichimoku Cloud, giving us some contrary information. We don't have a full-on breakout yet. The price is trying to break above the cloud and hasn't yet. Good news is the price is above the conversion line and the baseline. So that's a positive, and the lagging span hasn't intersected with the price action yet. So ultimately, we've got a good 24 hours before we see any type of, I guess you could say, doors close on the cloud. But bear in mind too, we've had a strong amount of increase recently here as well from the price. So once again, we're at a 7 out of 9 on TD sequential. So the likelihood of the price ramping up from here is fairly low, but I do think the potential for CRO to go sideways at this support and then increase after is very high. So I think 64 cents should and could very well be the bottom, pending Bitcoin doesn't lose its bottom, right? If Bitcoin stays at 51,500 or just trends between 51 and 52,000, then I think KuCoin will continue to make slower highs and slower lows. That sounds kind of funny, right? I meant to say higher highs and higher lows, but if they're slow, they're slower highs and slower lows. Anyways, yeah, you get what I'm saying by that. And speaking of higher highs and higher lows, though, if we look at this here, you can see that we're making higher highs and higher lows, right? So minus the recent dump, and that was because of Bitcoin, how low it had came, right? Because Bitcoin sold off by a small percent, KuCoin sold off by a larger percent. That's a very standard thing. But now we're making higher highs and higher lows, and it makes sense. The price is kind of getting rejected out right now because we are a little bit on the overextended side. Not terrible, but as you can see, we're at a 7 here as well. So we've got maybe a couple hours left of bullish momentum to the upside. So what I'm speculating we're going to see, because this price is soon to hold very well right here, I'm gonna speculate that 64 cents will be the recent bottom, the most relevant bottom, and we'll see the price trend between 64 and 66 cents for the next 24 hours. And if so, that'd be fantastic. We love to see that because that would reaffirm itself as a support, have a chance to cool down, get that reset on TD sequential, and then leg up again, right? So try to leg up at least to that major resistance zone and then slowly break through that. So, again, we're not out of the woods yet. I mean, we should not expect KuCoin to blast off. We just got to be realistic in the sense that it's still fairly synonymous with Bitcoin. I think until Bitcoin can break 52,300. 52.3 is a major Fibonacci retracement level on Bitcoin. I think once we pass that major resistance level, then KuCoin will probably have more room to fly or less fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market, therefore allowing it to kind of break free, so to speak. But until then, we got to just kind of pay attention and understand that Bitcoin is kind of calling the shots. And then one last thing here too, just to kind of clarify, just so you know, we've taken what's been rough. Is that 1 week of trading? Okay, yeah, roughly about 7 days worth of trading, right? And in the last 7 days, just keep in mind, KuCoin has grown from the lowest to its highest point of 42%. So if we're going to expect that same amount of growth in the next 7 days, that would put us at about 88, almost 89 cents. Okay, now I think the likelihood of that happening in the next 7 days is pretty low. I think more so 2 weeks is probably realistic because we need some consolidation, which it's doing, in order for it to leg up, and obviously a little bit more stability from Bitcoin. Okay, and I do feel like Bitcoin will break 52,300 in the next week or less. But for right now, in order to get that extra, oomph, so to speak, to get upwards of 89 cents, we're going to need to see consistent higher highs and higher lows, but also breaking these major resistance channels, such as 68 to 73 cents. Okay, if we can break above 73 cents and hold above for, just say, one full trading day, then we'll see 88 cents pretty easy. But between now and then, we got a little bit of leg room, or a little bit of room to grow, or some speed humps, whatever analogy you want to insert there. We're not in the clear just yet, but we're getting there. Okay. So all good stuff here for CRO. I'm still bullish. In fact, I believe based on what I see here so far, I'm probably going to go ahead and proceed to set out a swing trade signal to my community so we can all kind of, grow here with this, because I feel like it's pretty likely to see KuCoin, break its all-time high in the next month or so. I think that's very realistic. So we'll look forward to seeing that. Obviously, if you're not part of my trading community, feel free to consider joining. Link in the description below. We do have all slots available this month, but there will be new slots available first of the month in January. So just be mindful of that. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you. Take care.